Good morning, students. Welcome to another very interesting session of ICAI Board of Studies. Today, we're going to be talking about meeting. It's an extension of yesterday's class. So I hope all of you have joined the class. I'll just wait for a couple of minutes before you all join. And then, of course, we'll start the session. Good morning, all of you. I can see many of you have joined. Welcome once again. Okay, so whatever we did yesterday, wherever we left, I hope things are clear. Some tips for exams. Well, yes, don't worry, Khushi. Exams are very easy. It's just that it depends on your preparation. So if you're attending the classes regularly, if you're listening to the lectures regularly, and if you're watching the PPT easily and carefully, then exams will not be a problem. I can assure you that. Just keep your eyes and your ears open and listen to every point which I'm discussing in class and also to what other faculties are doing. Good morning, Nafisa. Good morning, Ankit. Good morning, Archana. Nice to have you all in class. Okay. Okay. Dushant, I think you have a question which is on a different topic that you can discuss with your concerned faculty. Right now, of course, we are doing a topic on meetings. So that's what my concern will be. In that case, I won't be able to help you with any other subject. Okay. Good morning, Prashant. Good morning, Jyoti. Nice to have you all back again in class. So let's get started. So yesterday we left at a point where we were discussing agendas, if you know. Now, agendas is a completely different topic, but it always comes under the meeting section. So you might be asked a question or two on agendas. You might be asked a question on preparing a meeting table chart like I showed you yesterday. I'll just quickly take you to yesterday's slide once so that you know where we left. And then from there on, I'll continue what we're going to do today. Okay. So any other questions, anything which you read somewhere when you think we need to discuss that, you can ask me right now. I'm repeating 3 things which you have to do after every class. Please read the MTPs and the RTPs. 1. Please read the textbook you have, the study material which you have. Please fill in your feedback for every session, whether it's me or whether it's other faculties. It's a part of the session that's going to help us, learn more about the drawbacks, learn more about the loopholes. We can improve our teaching. We can include certain things which probably we missed out today. So you as a student are quite in a better of position to help us improve and learn more in terms of what is expected. Also, please mention what did you like in the session? Were you able to understand most of the content? Were the faculties clear enough? So me and all the others with whom you're attending classes with, okay? Okay, good morning, Mohit. So 3 things I'm repeating: RTPs, MTPs, study material, and feedback. These are 3 things which I personally am requesting you to have a look at and get going with all these 3 things. Fine. Okay, so yesterday we were doing a session on meetings where this is the tabular format which we discussed. So you can make a certain timeline of your own on the left side. Then you can put the topic, what are the topics on which the participants are going to speak. Then you can have the attendees, like all participants are going to be attending all sessions of a meeting. So you can simply write it as all participants. Next column is the speaker. So each speaker coming and speaking on a certain topic, that's what you have to mention. And the last is duration. Duration is the time for which a particular speaker is going to speak on that topic. So the welcome note here is for 15 minutes. Then it's next is for 30 minutes, etc. Okay. Okay, no problem, Prashant. If it was boring, see, things keep happening. I'm trying my best to involve a lot of things in class. Even if it was boring, let's bear with it because that's what happens in a virtual mode, maybe. I'll try my best to include as many practice questions so that you are engrossed the whole 2 hours and you don't find time for boredom. Okay? Okay, requisites for a meeting you've understood, and then of course the agenda. So if you have the agendas done, if you understand what are the agendas for any product, for any meeting, then of course we can write the agenda, because these are questions which you probably wouldn't have attempted earlier. Meetings and agendas is not something I expect people of your age group to be knowing, because it has never been part of your curriculum. But a question on these two will definitely be there. Okay. So this is where we left. And now I'm going to start what we're going to do today. Okay. Yes. Good morning, Sudesh. Good morning, Kriti. I'll see if I can discuss circulars, because I think you all said there is a question on circular. There was a question on circular in the exam, so we'll do that. Okay, so now we have the need for an agenda. So we just left at what is an agenda, and then we're going to discuss how exactly the agendas are going to help in your future examination preparation. So let's say agendas are blueprints for a successful meeting. So what all does an agenda include? It includes the objective, like the purpose of the meeting. That should be in clear, bold letters. What is the purpose of the meeting? Second, it talks about the specific topics which you're going to talk about. Let's say in the tabular format, if you remember, it had those specific topics on which certain speakers will be speaking. So it's just about that. Third, it allots definite time. Again, we've already discussed that, a time and a duration, everything is clearly mentioned. And last of all, any activities, if they are as part of the meeting, should be mentioned. If you have a quiz happening, you have a Q&A happening, you have some kind of a game assigned for students, all that matters. So you have to put that in the agenda, because seeing the agenda of the meeting, one comes to know what all is in future, what all is in store, what all has been planned for the meeting. Okay, so this is like knowing beforehand, okay, these are the things I have to be active for, these are the things I will be involved in throughout the meeting. That's what the agenda includes. Fine. Okay, so any doubts till now? Okay, so now let's move on to the next thing. This is a sample agenda. I'm purposely showing you a sample agenda because I want you to know how exactly things move forward. I've been getting a lot of queries on agendas. I'm also seeing what you all have done, what you all do in the exam. So I'm a little concerned that after so many classes and so much of discussion, you should not fail to answer the question correctly in the exam paper. Mostly we have these for 5 marks, so please have it well written. Okay. So the topic is clearly there to discuss the declining sales figures. Now there has been a decline in the sales figures, which is the main purpose. Then comes the objective, which is to discuss the effect of COVID-19 and its impact on the current sales. So that is being more specific. So the first is a broader topic, which is just telling us a general idea that, okay, sales figures are down. And the objective is much more specific. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, probably the sales of a certain product or many products have got impacted and they are declining. Fine. Then you can see the dates, the time, that's very objective. You don't have to think much about it. The location I've written as meeting room, and the list of the participant is ABC. You can name all the people and mention their division, or you can simply leave it as ABC. You can just create names on your own, that's okay. In case you don't want to, you can also use the ABC format, that's also acceptable. Okay, because sometimes when you use the names and when it comes to the tabular format, you have some other names in the table and some other names in the agenda. That's not allowed. I mean, that's a mistake, that's a blunder. So please remember, whatever names are being mentioned here as the list of the participants should also be the same in that table which you make for the meetings. Okay, is this slide clear? Great. So now let me see if there's anything you all have to ask. Okay, Amit, just because the circular has been there in the exam, you don't have to worry about it, please. Okay, Suprada ma'am, format, what format? This is the format for agenda. I've already shown you the table for meetings. So these are the formats which I have been discussing. Of course, I'll try my best to touch that circular thing because all of you are waiting for me to tell you the circular aspect. Okay, I'll do that also, Amit. Maybe in the next session, in the afternoon session, maybe we can discuss circular. Okay. That's okay, Prashant. You don't have to be that modest and that humble. I know Sometimes topics don't involve a lot of enthusiasm, and sometimes even from our side or from the student side or from the content side, it's difficult to bring out that energy and that activity throughout the class with respect to other subjects, maybe because these are topics which are completely theoretical. I can't ask you to solve a question. I can't ask you to do a case study. I can't also ask you to do a puzzle. So, being a theoretical subject, it just goes on like this, right? So, please bear with me then. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now this is another agenda which I've written. This is all about the meeting. So, if you get a question on meeting, you can write this as the first part. This is the first page which you have to write, and after that this is the second thing which you have to write. Now if you see, it starts from 4 and it goes on to 7:30, so it's like a 3.5 hour long meeting. So the topics have been clearly mentioned. I'm also mentioning about the break. You can see there's a break like for 20 minutes. All the attendees have all the participants, the speakers from the respective division. So I've put the names of the speakers and I've put it in brackets, the respective division and the duration, of course. Okay, is it okay now? So this is a neat and clean and easy to understand table which you all have to attempt in the exam. Please make sure you understand what all goes into each column. So remember, it's TTASD. That's how I remember it. TTASD, it's time, topic, attendees, speaker, and duration. If you remember these broad categories under which you have to put some content, you will never go wrong. Second thing which students make a mistake about is the time. If you are writing the time, please make sure it is mentioned according to the time slot. So if it's a 10-minute duration, then you have to make it like 10 minutes. After that, I see you give the first topic a 10-minute duration, and then instead of starting from 4:10, you start from 4:30. So you can't just go randomly in times. You have to mention each duration and the time all go hand in hand. Okay? Okay, I just have some doubts. Let me just go through. Okay. Yes, you can do that. You can do that, of course. Idioms. Rini, Rin, why are we discussing idioms? I don't know. Idioms is not part of today's class. I think you must have done that in vocabulary. Okay. Okay. When to use the tabular agenda and the textual agenda. Okay, Kushi, so what exactly happens is this is the actual agenda. That is just a sheet attached in the beginning. Let me show you. Okay, just give me a minute. I'll read all the questions and I'll give you an answer one by one. Sukrita, it's anything. You can tilt the page, that's okay, don't worry. Any direction of the page is okay, you don't have to bother about that. The tabular format is the best way of writing the agenda, don't worry. The first part which I showed here is just the first few things which you can mention as the first part of your answer, and then you move on to the tabular format, okay? List of speakers or list of departments. Moksha, it's list of participants is all those people who will be attending the meeting. Okay. List of speakers is the names of those people who will be speaking on certain things belonging to the division. If you want to write the division, well and good. Even if you want to skip that, it's okay. But just that it makes it more clear that yes, I have understood how to, I have understood which person comes from which division. So it gives a better view and a better understanding. Okay. Rin, I'm again asking you, idioms and phrases is not part of today's session, so please don't expect I'm going to discuss that. You might have had a class on vocabulary or other topics. So that is where idioms and phrases would have been discovered. Okay, you can have a look at the earlier lectures and then you can find out. Jayashree, you can write A, B, C, D, but then if you have if it's a long list, then you can't just start from A and then move on to X. So it's better if you just make up names. It gives it a more realistic picture. It gives a more an authentic image of the whole agenda list. Okay, Veni, how many writing skills? Well, writing skills involves meetings, report writing, and letter writing, mail writing. So it depends on your energy and your bandwidth. You can't just go on and say that, okay, I'm going to do only one passage per day, I'm going to do only one meeting agenda per day. It depends on how you've actually divided your time, and then accordingly you can move forward. So I told you, Khushi, you can start with those first few lines, can be this part of it. And then after this, you can start giving me the table in your answer. Okay, any other thing? So that's it, I assume. It's clear till here. The sample agenda is clear. Circular writing is similar to notice making, so it's easy. That's okay, Satish. Maybe you find it easy. I'll definitely find out some time and I'll discuss it with you. Okay, don't worry. Khushi, there's no constraint. You can write 3 speakers, 4 speakers, at least 3 speakers, because then you have something to put in the table. If you just write 2 speakers, then it looks like very small. So even if you have 3 speakers, I think it will be a good choice. Okay. Okay, so now let's move on. I think all of you have understood this. So, okay, now comes the actual practice question. So, the agenda for a new product launch, that is one option. Second is introducing a new brand ambassador. So, you have a product, you have this product being introduced with a new brand ambassador. Maybe it's going to be a cricketer, maybe it's going to be a tennis person, maybe it's going to be an actor. Anybody you feel you can write. Okay, and third is any annual general meeting. In an annual general meeting, you just have to write about what happened throughout the year in that company. So you need to tell me what is your organization about. Is it a product-based company? Are you an FMCG? Are you in a pharmaceutical? Okay, okay, yeah, just give me 1 minute, I'll answer that. Then you have in a team meet for discussing new organizational policies. So what are some policies which you are trying to include in your organization? Maybe some HR policies, maybe some, let's say, some sales related policies, some business development related policies. So that depends on completely your choice. You are free to take up anything. And the last is some HR issues. So I've just put 3 in the line as an example. You can discuss anything. So these are the broad categories which I have given you as an example. And now I want you to make a tabular format. Maybe in the comment section, it's difficult to make a table. So you can just give me at least 3 to 4 lines on any one of these, and then later you can practice the rest of them also. For example, you're doing a new product launch. So you have somebody who comes and welcomes the session. Then you have somebody from the creative team who shows the new design of the product, the packaging maybe. If it's like, let's say it's a packet of snack item, then you show the packet. Third is somebody from the business development department comes and shows the pricing and how are you going to launch it, what is the need for this new product. Already the company has a lot of products, so something on that. Then finally you have somebody from the marketing and sales, and that person is going to tell you about how is the reach going to be, where will you spread the product, the shelf life, what are the means of advertising, are you going to go global, are you going to go social, are you going to have just TV ads, all that. So you don't have to write all details, you just have to write one line which is going to tell us the main topic, that this is the topic and you're going to speak on this. Okay, so on that note, I would like you to attempt at least one of these right now. Duration of the total will be mentioned in the question. Mostly we try that we mention it in the question, In case it's not mentioned, you are free to do anything. So you can start at 5 p.m. and you can end the meeting at 6 p.m. In the middle, a 15-minute session for at least three speakers, or a 10-minute break, a 15-minute tea break. You can do all that. So right now, I haven't given you any time duration. I haven't given you the number of speakers. I'm just asking you as a rough practice. You can include 3 speakers and let this session be for 1 hour. Okay. So suppose you're starting at 5 to 6, it can be one of this. If it's an AGM, you can talk about a few more things. So the speakers can be speaking for more than 30 minutes. If it's HR issues, then also I suggest let's take up like 20 minutes of speakers. So you can have 4 speakers. Okay. No, Suprata, no concluding lines. Okay. You just end with the tabular format and that's it. A brand ambassador is a person who endorses a brand. So you've been seeing television advertisements of thumbs up and colas and chewing gums and chips. So the celebrities who come and do an advertisement for these products are known as brand ambassadors. Yeah, what about Saki Taji? I think, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. What about the list of participants? You have to give a list of participants. This is how I'm expecting your answer to look like. So you start with a certain time, then you move to a topic. I would suggest please start with introduction. That's the best way. Then, of course, you start to talk about the attendees. Then there is a speaker. You can just have ABC right now. You don't have to worry about the names. For the current question, for the practice question, you can include ABC and give me a time duration. So try and finish in an hour. Okay, the meeting should finish in an hour. Fine. So you can start doing it whatever which way it suits, because I know a tabular format might not be easy here in this mode, but you can try it back end and then you can send it through Vivek sir. If you want me to check it, you can do that. AGM is annual general meeting, which is probably, it's an annual meeting which happens at the end of the year where you discuss the organization's development, the sales figures, the strategies for the next year. You discuss some future planning and what were the financial reports are open. You have some stockholders coming and attending the meeting. That's what an AGM is all about. Okay, Kushi, very good. It's fine till now. No, Prashant. In the normal agenda, in this agenda, Prashant Kunal, you can simply mention the list of participants as the names, and the same names should be there in the tabular format. So don't think that here you have some other names and in the table you have some other names. That's not correct. Okay, I'm still waiting. Agenda is compulsory. Yes, you have an agenda, which is a question. So it is compulsory. Prashant, I am saying you have to use one of these topics and start giving me a tabular agenda on the basis of what I showed you on this slide. Based on this slide, for 1 hour of a meeting, which involves at least 3 speakers or 4 speakers, make a tabular agenda on one of these 5 topics right now. Okay, that's what you have to do. Utkar, you can do a tabular format. This is hardly few lines. See, if I show you this slide, this is just few lines. So this should be the part of your answer first. After this comes the table. Is it okay? You all got it? So when you are answering a question on meetings and an agenda, just write these 5 things first and then give me the main tabular format. Okay, Soumya has done something, so I'm just assuming everybody is practicing. Huh, yes, Aryan, we usually prefer not like any time of the year, maybe after a certain quarter or after a certain term. So let's say maybe third quarter, you can have the AGM. Okay. Okay, Soumya, yours looks fine, very good, not a problem. Okay. Okay, Sudesh, yours is also okay. It's quite simple, quite straightforward, fine, don't worry. A large number of participants, but why are you assuming there are a large number of participants? Right now, based on the question, you can include at least four participants. If you think there are a large number of participants, and in the list of the participants here, which you think here, you can just write all members of all senior members from the finance and the business development division. Okay. So usually you don't have like 20, 30, 50, 100 people in a meeting. We are not discussing at that level. We are assuming that the number is less than 10. So it will be easy for you to answer. Okay. Good, Soumya. Okay. Good. Sudesh and Soumya, well attempted. I'm still waiting. The others can also please share your answers. I know it will take time. It's not very easy to write all that in this comment section. So you can just make a rough note of it in a paper and then just keep it for your own thing because the table of course will not be easy to make here. That I understand. But if you can just put a slash like Sudesh and Soumya have done, just put a comma or a slash and then you can share it with me. Aryan, if you've made the agenda, you need to do it right here in the comment section. That's what the others are doing. So if you can also do that, I'll be grateful. If you can't, then it's okay. I'll just show you what the others have done, maybe. 5 p.m. introduction, okay. Okay, Jasmine, just please work on your topics because if you say all of you are doing a new product launch, till now I have got the same answers. Marketing the new product, what about it? Okay, so discussion on the marketing of the new product. Use a better phrase because you're not going to market the product here, you're going to discuss the marketing of the new product. Okay, discuss about the new product, discuss. So what I suggest is, Jasmine, you can have a little more information in the agenda because I can see only three things you have done. First is introduction, second is discussion about the new product, then it is marketing about the new product. That's it. So that doesn't give me a good understanding about what you have understood. So I request you, please give me a better topic. If you see my agenda here, can you see this? So I've given you the topics which are going to be discussed. You can't just be very random and very straightforward at marketing and discussion. That's not what I expect in the topic. The topic should be much more relevant and the topic should be much more related to certain divisions. Yes, Archana, I know it's difficult to write in the query box. It's okay, no worries. You can leave it like this. It's okay. You don't have to share it with me, but do practice it at your end. Okay. Okay. Kushi. Okay. Agenda, discussion of products, time, 4 a.m., location. Okay. So you have done the first part of it, right? The theoretical part of it. Okay. Fine. So most of you, what you are sending looks good. Hariharan, you have tried. Okay, Hariharan has written something on the AGM. Wonderful. Okay, the shareholders, wonderful. So you've included Mr. Ravi as a CA who's speaking, then you've included a lunch break, fine. You've spoken about a vote of thanks by some person, very good. Okay, fine. Hariharan, it looks perfect. No worries. All good here. This is good to go. Okay, Prashant Kothari, no worries. If you've done it in your own practice book, that's okay. Just ensure that you are going very much in alignment to what I'm showing on screen and obviously what is there in your study material. If you are well matching the content and the expectation there, then you don't have to show it to me. Suprada, where in the list of participants is basically here, you mean, right? Here, list of participants, you can write Mr. ABC speakers and attendees all from this particular division. Okay, so this sheet should be as clear as possible because based on this sheet only we decide what are the discussions going to happen on the agenda. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult for me to understand have you understood the topic or not. Okay, Jasmine, for introducing a new product. Fine. So suppose you're going to start a new product. Most of you have done it on a product launch. You can show the product. So display of the product, justifying the name of the product. And if there is a tagline, you can discuss that. So display of the product and the tagline. Second, the cost and the budget. Third, how to market the new product. And fourth, somebody from, the food and beverage department can come and discuss the benefits of the product because sometimes the ingredients, the ISI mark, the FSSAI thing, everything is mentioned at the back of the product. So ensuring that hygiene and high quality products and ingredients have been used, somebody from that division can come and talk about it. So just think about any edible item, just think about a new phone, just think about a new pen, think about a new eating, like, maybe a new chocolate, maybe some new kind of oats, maybe a sanitizer. Any new product is okay as long as it's not mentioned in the question. I mean, that's not a very valid question, Sudesh. Okay, great. I'll check that out, Prashant. I'll do that later. You don't have to get a lunch break if you have just 1 hour of a meeting. A 15-minute tea break is more than enough, Satish. A lunch break is usually mentioned in the agenda. When I show, it's like a long 3-hour meeting. Only then you need to talk about the lunch break. Otherwise, you can just leave it. Yes, Soumya, you can do that. Before the TTASD, you can add all those departments also, not a problem. Okay, I'm checking yours, Suprada. Design of all, Mrs. Ruchi, 20-minute price and all. Okay. Okay, Gunjan, yours is correct. Yes, yours is also correct. Niharika, yours, what is minutes of a meeting? I haven't discussed that. So that's the next topic we're going to discuss. So don't hurry. We'll discuss that, Niharika. Nafisa, you haven't given me the topics on which these speakers are speaking. That is something I expect. You've only mentioned the time duration and you've only mentioned the names of the speakers. But what after that? What are these people going to speak on? Okay, Khushi, you've done a wonderful job. Very good. Your answer is perfect. So what exactly are we looking for in an answer based on this? We are looking for this table. I want to see the time. I want to see the topic on which a particular person is speaking. I want to see the person's name and, if possible, the department which he belongs to and the duration for which he's speaking. So if I say the TTASD style, you know that I have to put some fill in the blanks in this, and then it's done. Okay, so I've almost checked everybody's. Yes, Jasmine, you have to write both. The textual agenda is hardly like, 4 lines. That's it. So this is just the textual agenda, 4 lines, and then immediately after this, you have the tabular format. Yes, Vanshita, that's also correct. Yours is okay. Okay, Vanshita, for example, what I just saw is you've written 20 minutes, 6:30, a thanks speech, all participants. Okay, that is the attendees. Mr. A, 10 minutes. Fine. That's okay. So if I see your topics, you've just written like product launching, costing. Let it not be just one word. Okay. I am more concerned about you all being able to tell me the topics on which certain speakers will be speaking. That's where your creativity lies. If you simply write costing, if you simply write marketing, if you simply like advertising, I don't think so. You are using your brains enough to analyze and write what is the topic. Based on the objective, you have to start giving me discussions on the topics. Okay. Yes, Utkar, more than 3 marks actually. Okay, so that's enough for the discussion. I think most of you have given me a good answer. You can try it for any other topic also on your end. I'm giving this tabular format to you. Please concentrate. You don't have to worry because these are few practice questions which you can try at your end. The structure of the table should be the same, like the way I showed you. The textual agenda is also the same. Everybody is good. Kriti, yours is also fine. Please don't assume that if I have not named you out, then it's not good. There are a lot of answers coming, and checking on a screen is not that easy. But yes, more or less, all of you have got it correct. Okay, Mahima and Kriti. So yours is also fine. You just have to ensure that the table looks like a table. It has the TTASD format, and the textual agenda, which is 4 lines, is also mentioned before the table. That makes your answer comprehensive and complete. Okay. Now, in case anybody has a doubt, you can try one more, or else we move on to the second topic, which is minutes of a meeting. Is it okay? Are you okay with having tried one of them only? Can I move forward? You can tell me, you can give me a thumbs up, because if you are sure about these topics and the other topics which are there in the MTPs and the RTPs, then I'll move on and I'll take up the next topic, which is minutes of a meeting. Okay, then maybe we can do some questions on this now. So I think somebody had asked that also, what are minutes of the meeting? Okay, so let's move forward. So minutes of a meeting, the short is MOM. That's like an informal short form. We don't use it like a standard short form. These are informal notes or some records of a meeting which were heard and then noted down. Okay, so you might be hearing something and then you might be noting it. You might be part of the meeting and then you're asked to write the minutes of a meeting. Okay, also known as MOM, of course. Now, what do the minutes do? If I ask you, the minutes basically highlights the key issues, the kind of proposals made, the kind of discussions made, if there were any conclusions, and if some motions were passed, if everybody comes to a unanimous decision. So all those highlights of a meeting are put in the minutes of a meeting. Okay, that's the main idea. If you feel minutes is getting a little confusing, I have the exact list of what all you have to include in that. These questions are very objective. You don't have to worry because they follow a standard format. If you include these 4 topics, 5 topics, then I know you are sure you have understood minutes of a meeting, and they're very scoring questions, right? So what would the minutes include? The minutes would include the list of attendees. Attendees is all those people who are attending the the meeting. Second is the very specific points stated by various speakers. A speaker might be talking for 30 minutes, for 40 minutes, like you mentioned in the tabular format, but there might be only some specific points which are important, which you can filter out from the speech. They need to be mentioned. Third is the responses or decisions taken. Obviously, that's the key highlight of the meeting. And last is if something was planned about the future. So what's the next step of action? What is the modus operandi going to be for the concerns in question? All that has to be highlighted. So all in all, I can say the highlights of the meeting are mentioned in the minutes of a meeting. Okay. Okay, now I am getting various answers. Sudesh says go to the next topic. And Niharika says one more topic. Okay, please move forward. Fine. Can we include topic of open suggestions for 5 minutes? Yes, Moksha, you can do that. Prashant, I think I already mentioned AGM. Ankit, fine. Gunjan, yours is also okay. Okay, just ensure your spellings are correct. Ankit, I can see a couple of spelling mistakes in the word like break, so please check that. Okay, you can mention anything about a Q&A, that's okay. You can mention about an open house, that's also okay. You don't have to exactly stick to what all I have written. These are like models, right? These are modular tab tables. You can include or exclude something. It's not mandatory to have 10 speakers. It's not mandatory to take the meeting for 1 hour. You can stretch for 2 hours. You might even take it as 45 minutes. That's completely your idea and your style. Okay, so this slide is also clear, the minutes of a meeting slide. You can mention the attendees, you can mention the name of the speakers and the points which they have mentioned, the very important aspects, and what is the next course of action decided upon. So the meeting ends on what note, as in the conclusion, is what needs to be put here. Okay, so now this is a question which many people asked me earlier also and otherwise also. Why do we need to write the minutes? Now, obviously, when somebody has not attended a meeting, how does he or she get to know about what happened in the meeting? That is the reason why we insist you should be knowing how to write the minutes. Okay. For example, all participants have been there in the meeting, but they could not understand a lot of it, probably because, speaker after speaker, people keep coming and they keep saying their stuff. But I'm not sure about what the first speaker said and what the second speaker said because I am simply sitting and listening. I'm not taking notes. So in that regard, if I have the minutes, I can simply refer to the minutes and recollect. Okay, in this regard, this was said. In the other departments, this was said. So it helps me develop my understanding and helps me perform better because I might be directly involved with what all was said in the meeting. So if I don't have a record of all that, it's not very easy for me to move forward. Okay, that's the first point. Second is the person who is writing the minutes of the meeting remains very neutral. He doesn't give his personal opinion, his or her personal opinion. So whatever was discussed in the minutes, in case I had a different interpretation as a participant and a colleague of mine had a different interpretation, all of that can be clarified by ways of reading the minutes, that this is what actually the person meant when he said a few lines or when he used a few words. Okay. Okay, recording of statements. Yes, Parth Sati, that's also true, recording of statements. So if you look at these 6 points one by one, minutes of a meeting is like, just a recap of what all happened in a meeting. Like Partha Sarthi said, recording the statements. I don't want to listen to the whole speech of the speaker. I don't want to go through all the PPTs shown in the meeting. I don't want to look at all the graphs and the surveys, but I want to look at those which are going to help me. So in that case, some important date was mentioned, some important highlight was done, something about a submission was mentioned. All that is part of the minutes. So even without hearing the whole meeting, if it was recorded, or seeing the whole meeting if it was recorded. Even without doing that, I can straight away see those minutes and start, and get going for my next task. And very importantly, it acts as a legal and a written document. So this is like undersigned by those who attended the meeting, those who spoke in the meeting, and this acts as a record for future references that yes, this was said and this was decided upon and this has been signed by everybody. So now you can't change sides. Now you can't deny you said that. Okay. And minutes definitely act as a legal record. So that's a very important reason why we should write minutes after every meeting. Okay, so let me see. Suprada, agenda and minutes, there are people designated for this. If you are in a role where you've been given to write the agenda, you might even be asked to write the minutes. So that right now you can't be sure about who is going to write, and it's one of the participants, it's one of the attendee, it's one person from the organization only. Soumya, there is no specific hours meeting. If the question says let the meeting be for 1 hour, you can divide your time slots accordingly. If the question does not mention anything about the time, then you can just leave it. You can take your own stand. You can extend the meeting, but don't make it too long, like a 3 hour, 4 hour meeting. That should not happen. Yes, Sutish, this is very similar to taking notes when you are in class, because when you are in class, you have running notes. The teacher is saying something and you're just noting down everything. To make sure that you don't have to listen to the whole lecture again, you can simply refer to the notes. In class, maybe you don't have a lot of dates being discussed, a lot of highlights, a lot of submissions, a lot of conclusions. It's just about a topic. But in a meeting, it's more about this. So if I say the next meeting on this topic will be held on the 16th of the next month, and if I say we have to ensure that this particular job will be done in 2 days, if I say that a mail needs to be floated across the organization about the sales decline and how people can contribute, all those things which need to be kept on record can be discussed or can be put down in the minutes. The headlines the participants did in the meeting is mentioned. Yeah, I'll show you how to write the minutes. Don't worry, Jasmine. I'll definitely discuss that. Any questions still here, you can ask me, please. That's what I'm expecting. If you have any doubt, if you think there is anything which is missed out, or maybe I was a little fast in explaining, or there was lack of communication, please ask me. Then, of course, my next step will be how to write the minutes, which is a stepwise process. So there needs to be a planning, there needs to be record taking, there needs to be writing the minutes, and finally, that's the end of it. So I want to start the writing of the minutes after the break. That's why I'm asking, is there any question you have right now? Please ask. If you think this much is clear, you have understood the agenda, the textual agenda, and after that, the tabular agenda, then we can get going with the next topic. In case you have asked me something, please go ahead. Yeah, so I think most of you who have attempted the tabular agenda have got it correct. I don't see any big time error there, a couple of words here and there. Please pay emphasis on the topic. You need to give me a decent and a good topic for discussion on which the speaker is going to speak. And this is, of course, the need. You might not be getting a direct question, but unless you know the need for writing the minutes, you will not be able to do this task on your own. That's why I'm saying, please get to the basics. Okay, Soumya, what did you not understand? Can you please clarify, Prashant Kothari, the need for minutes once again? Okay. So if somebody asks you, why do you need to take down notes after a certain lecture? What's the first thing that comes to mind, so that I can straight away refer to the notes which have been written in shorthand, which are quite direct and which have only the key points which were discussed in class. Okay, that's what you write your notes for. So minutes is just like writing down or taking down notes from a class. In this case, the class is a meeting and the notes are the minutes. Okay. Second, minutes of a meeting act as a legal and a written record. Sometimes if a speaker later refuses or denies having said something, You can always present the minutes as a valid document with the sign of certain dignitaries and authorities, and hence they act as a legal proof. So that is one reason why we write minutes, and the minutes are circulated. It's not that one person writes the minutes and he keeps it with himself. The minutes are circulated to all the attendees, all the participants of the meeting for their record, for their perusal. Third, the minutes always refer to only the highlights, only the main points. So the emphasis is only on the important aspects discussed in a meeting. So sometimes when a person has been asked to take some action based on what an XYZ speaker said, that person need not listen to the speaker's speech again. He might simply refer to the minutes and see, okay, Mr. XYZ had asked for these 3 points to be worked upon. Mr. XYZ has asked that in the next meeting, before the next meeting, these aspects should be discussed and dealt with so I can start working. So it's just like a close reference and an easy reference. Okay? That's what is the need for a minutes. And of course, a record for all participants, all said and done, that's the primary aspect why we write minutes. Okay, is it clear? Sometimes the second point is a little, under debate. Many people say, why do we have a varied interpretation? Now, what exactly happens is many meetings do not have a Q&A. Many meetings end without a discussion. So what you have to do is you just have to listen to the speaker, take down notes as per your understanding. Maybe later you get the minutes and you keep them for your record. But what exactly happens is when the speaker was saying something about, some let's say some sales figures. So I have understood that we need to boost our sales and hence we need to launch more products. Whereas my colleague understood that we need to boost our sales, but more products is going to add on to the resources, add on to the infrastructure, add on to the labor. So we don't need to have more products. So having this discrepancy of thought, having this conflict of understanding, maybe I had some other notion, he or she had some other notion. So somebody who has well understood the meeting is given the task of writing the minutes. So he or she gives a good straightforward interpretation about what the speaker actually said. And in case the person who is noting down the minutes also had a doubt, he can very well go to the speaker before actually writing the minutes. He can discuss it with the speaker once that, okay, sir, what did you actually mean by this line? Do you mean this? Do you mean this? Can you just clarify for a minute so that I can put it on record? So there are various means of ensuring that what you write on the minutes is the actual truth and is what the actual speaker meant. Okay, got it? Prashant Kothari, is it okay now? Understood. Okay. I was just now doing that, Archana, so I have explained all that. ATR is an action taken report, which we'll discuss later. Don't hurry. Minutes are not written by all participants. Minutes are written by one of the participant who has been assigned the job beforehand. So somebody who's writing the minutes will be knowing that he's supposed to do this. The other participant will be only silent observers or silent participating members of the meeting. Okay, Soumya? Well, thanks, Sudesh, for that comment. I would expect all of you to give me a feedback in the feedback form which you get after the class. I would appreciate that actually. Well, Nafisa, that's a very interesting question. Minutes are taken down during the meeting or after the meeting. Now, I have seen it both ways. During the meeting, you can take down rough minutes. After the meeting, you can just put them in a fair way because, you can't just put everything perfectly while listening and writing. You might just miss out on something. Your language might be incorrect. So anybody who has been assigned the task of writing the minutes, he is exclusively sitting in one side close to the speakers, jotting down all the relevant points in whatever format. And then once the meeting is over, he can just work upon it, make a fair copy, and then circulate it. Okay, so you cannot expect the writer of the minutes of the meeting to remember everything. That's the reason we say you write down your understanding at that particular time during the course of the meeting, and then later you can work upon it, adjust it, align it, make it look presentable and readable, and then you can send it to all the attendants. Yes, Prashant, I'll do that. Prashant Kothari, I'll definitely do that. Thanks, Archana, you got it. Thanks, Soumya, you understood. Prashant, Kunal, how to write topics in tabular agenda. I think we've already discussed the tabular agenda. I can just show you the slide. This is the tabular agenda. Prashant, Kunal, you can have a look quickly in case you have a doubt even now. ATR is something which I haven't touched upon, so please wait, Ankit. I'll jump to that soon. Okay, clear, no doubts. Okay, thank you so much, Saki Buraza. Thank you so much. Yes, great, Soumya. Thanks for that. No, no, Aryan, it's not mandatory. If you want, you can mention that. So, I am trying to discuss a hypothetical meeting with you where I'm giving you all the possible topics which you might get in the exam. Once you enter into the real time scenario of your office, of your organization, of your self practice, there might be various other reasons why you're having a meeting, why you need to put down minutes. I'm giving you the most important ones, the ones without which you cannot move forward in this. So I'm giving you all the aspects of possible questions which can come in the exam based on the topics for which you have to give me a minute. And these are those examples which I wanted you to try. So whenever you're free, you can try this. This is the main part which includes the minute of the meeting. And next, of course, I'll show you how to write the minutes because that involves a couple of steps. It's not like, you suddenly write it. It's good if you know the basics because that's going to help us write the minutes perfectly. Some people just go in a very haphazard manner. You just jot down everything and you're done with it. But somebody who has been given the responsibility of writing the minutes should be knowing these steps. So, the steps involved in the minutes of the meeting, there are certain 5 steps which we always ask you to know. You don't have to mug them up, but if you follow this pattern, then everything goes in a very clean way. And something which I always tell is please know your job well. You're not supposed to just write the minutes because you think you're a good writer. Not necessarily a good writer can write the minutes well, or a good listener can write the minutes well. A lot of information and a lot of organization and structure goes into preparing this. Okay, so please, once you get into office, this is something which will not be discussed with you. Hence, I'm requesting please pay attention here, clarify your doubts, practice as many questions, refer to the NTPs, read your study material where a lot of examples have been given. A lot of practice questions are also there in your study material. Have a look at those. And then, when you will be thorough with at least 5 attempts of examples, then I think you are quite sure how to go about it in the exam paper. Okay, so at that note, I'll take a break because I'm going to start the writing part later. After the break, we'll do that. So please come back after 5 to 6 minutes and then we'll start the second topic, right? Thank you so much. Okay, welcome back after a break, all of you. So let's see where we stopped. Let's see if there are any doubts. Okay, Q&A I've already discussed. If you want, you can. If you don't want, you can leave it. Thank you so much, Suprada. I know. Well, Prashant, those are, the legal aspects. You don't have to worry about that. That you will learn in reality when you actually attend a live meeting. So there are ways. We also keep a phone. Sometimes we also keep a recorder sometimes. So there are many ways of ensuring that the speaker sticks to what he said. Okay. Okay. Kaize, very good. Yes, we have completed the agenda and we have completed the tabular format. Very good. What agenda will be written in next meeting is written in minutes. Parthasarthi, I'm sorry I didn't get the question. Can you please put it in better words? I did not understand what you said. Yes, Jayashree, that is possible. In case somebody is not sure about writing all that very fast, then you can very well keep a recorder, and that is mentioned in the agenda or in the circular which is gone, that the meeting will be recorded on a device, because everything needs to be told beforehand to all speakers and all attendees, right? So it's very important to mention that the meeting will be recorded. Just in case anybody has an objection, he or she can quit, or maybe that can be taken up later. But yes, if you want, the person who's going to write the minutes of the meeting can definitely use a recorder. Kriti, so how will we know which method we have to? So what I told you, I think you missed out. I would expect you to write those 3 lines of textual agenda followed by the tabular agenda. This is how your answer should look. 3 lines of textual agenda followed by the tabular agenda. So any questions on meetings will be dealing with this only. Why don't you all please have a look at the RTPs and the MTPs? I think that's actually going to clear all your doubts. Because what I'm seeing is, if you have a doubts about how will the agenda look, how long will the table be, how many hours should we include, all those kind of doubts will get clarified if you see the revision test papers. If you see the question papers, if you see the revision test papers, you will actually get a clear picture. In case you have a doubt, I can also share it with you here. Just give me a minute. I'll take you to the question on meetings, and then probably you'll understand how these questions on meetings have to be attended, or probably the minutes of the meeting. Okay, I'll just share it. Meanwhile, all of you can also have a look at the RTPs, because that is something I've been telling you from day one. Once you see the questions which have come in last year's papers, you will be in a better position, and then most of your basic doubts will get taken care of. Okay, so yes, all of you can see my screen. Yeah, this is chapter 13. Minutes of a meeting. Can you see? So you are the CEO of a pharmaceutical company. Is the screen visible to all? I'm reading chapter 13, question number 1. This is from your test paper. It's there on the Board of Studies knowledge portal. This is an example which I'm sharing from the practice questions. Okay. This is under the May 2020 category. If you have a doubt, you can check it right now also. Okay, thanks, Soumya. The screen is visible. So if you see the first question, you are the CEO of a pharmaceutical company. In the light of the coronavirus pandemic, your company has witnessed a high demand of paracetamol drugs. However, the company infrastructure and the employee strength does not allow you to cater to the demand, which means you have only, example, 10 employees working on the production. And now, because you have to increase the production of the drug, you might just have to double the labor. Prepare the minutes of the meeting discussing the concern. Members involved in the meeting are CEO, product head, pharmacy experts, business lead, head of sales. Okay. So the objective becomes, which you're going to write in the textual agenda, the objective becomes high demand of paracetamol drugs. Then you can give me the date, the time, the location. Then you can talk about the list of participants where you can mention these four names. You can make up fictional names, Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, Mrs. C, etc. And I've given you the people who will be speaking. So these are the members, as in these will be speaking on certain topics. Then you make a tabular format with that TTASD structure, and you can discuss if there is somebody from the product head is the person who's dealing with that particular drug, pharmacy experts, people who are going to discuss the salt and the concentration and the different combinations which go into that drug. Business lead is the person who is going to discuss the salability, the scalability, and the spread of the product, that particular medicine across. And obviously the head of sales who's going to discuss the sales and marketing strategies. So your topic can be discussing sales and marketing strategies, business lead discussing issues of business development and requirement of more funds, pharmacy experts discussing the salt and discussing the chemical aspects and the side effects of the drug, the product head, why we need to increase the supply of the product, and how this product has really got a good turnover for the company. This is the end of your question. Okay. Now, if you have to prepare the minutes of the meeting also, I can zoom in. Okay, Suprada, is it still not clear? Should I zoom in more? Just give me a moment. I'll take you to the key also in case you think maybe in spoken it's getting a little difficult to understand. Is it okay here? Okay, that was the tabular format, which is the agenda which I have discussed. Now, in this case, the question asked you to write the minutes of the meeting. So you can see I've written the minutes like this. Minutes of the meeting, the participants in attendance, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, that was given in the question. The date, when did the meeting start? So this is the format which you have to follow for writing minutes of the meeting. Since all of you are more concerned about the format, I thought I'll give you the format first and then I'll discuss the steps. Is it okay now, Moksha? Bit blur but visible, so don't worry. This is there in your in the BOS knowledge portal link. You can have a look yourself. I'm just showing it to ensure that all of you know the structure, you know the format. So for writing the minutes of the meeting, this is what you have to do. Now, please read the question carefully. Is it asking you to give the agenda or is it asking you to give the minutes? What is it asking you to do? Okay. Fine. So I'll just take you down. So I've written the name of the people because the headings of their division was given in the question. I've just named them Mr. A, B, R, B, AP, etc., etc. And I've given you one lines about what did they all speak on, the highlights. And in the end, all the participants agreed to the concern and come back with a detailed report. That's like a standard line you can use after every minute. Fine. Is it clear? So this is the actual answer on the minutes of a meeting. This is not asking you to write the agenda. So you don't have to give me the text part. You don't have to give me the tabular format. This is what the answer was in this case. Okay. Any doubts here? If you have, please ask, or else I'll take you to the second question. The second question in the minutes was this tabular format. This is how I have done it. The minutes in the tabular format. The agenda in the tabular format. Okay. So you can see this is the tabular format. The first was the minutes of the meeting. We just need to be written theoretically one after the other in points, just giving me one line of what each speaker said. Is it clear now? Any confusion? Okay, fine. So you can have a look at this because the keys are very well mentioned. The questions are very well mentioned. You don't have to worry about that. Everything is there in the website. The PPT will anyway be uploaded. So I don't think so there should be any scope for confusion or any scope for a doubt. Okay, let me see if you have something to ask. Fine. So I am assuming everybody is clear till here the need for writing the minutes. What are the minutes of a meeting? What is the agenda, the textual aspect, and the tabular aspect? Are you all sure? Can you please comment in the chat box that you're sure, and then I move on to the next topic, which is the steps involved in writing minutes. And then I'm going to ask you to write a few minutes right in class right now. Okay. And I remember the circular thing. I'll definitely discuss the circular in the 2 o'clock session. So please just remind me, but I'll ensure that I remember it. Till now, any doubts? Okay, so I assume since nothing has been put up in the comment box, everything is clear. Fine. So now let's move on to a detailed task of how exactly you need to write the minutes. So something which I've highlighted in red is it's not simply the academic notes, because most of you were discussing that. It is like writing notes, but it involves a lot of steps. So that was a very broad or a very general comparison, because what happens is when you take down academic notes, you are writing in a very rough format. You can just write for your own self understanding. The main difference here is the minutes which you have written are under a circulation process. So you need to spread those minutes to many people who attended the meeting. So that's the reason why I say they might not be very casual, they might not be very roughly written, but they need to follow a certain step, a certain format. Okay. Open house, Vani, is nothing but a Q&A session. So in the end, when every speaker has spoken, the open house allows all the participants to ask questions to certain speakers, where if you have a doubt, you don't have to interrupt the speaker when he or she is speaking, but you can simply ask, okay, this is a doubt, please tell me. Mayank, yes, you can write them in the tabular format. Well, preferably, we say the agenda be written in the tabular format and the minutes only be written in a straightforward 1, 2, 3, 4 line. You can just put bullets, you can just put numbers, or even if you don't put that, use a separate line for each speaker, the highlight of each speaker. That is more than enough. Okay, yes, Ravi, there is an afternoon class, which is going to be the last class for minutes. So I request all of you to be there, because whatever doubts you have, you can bring all your doubts for the minutes chapter in the afternoon session. So in that 1 hour break, of course, you'll have lunch, but I also expect you to refer to the RTPs and the MTPs. If there is a particular doubt, a specific concern, you can share it with me in class and I can clarify it right there. Don't leave any doubt pending. Okay? Mayank, I think there is a confusion. The format which I gave was for the agenda, the tabular format. It involves the 3 textual lines and then the table. And for the minutes of the meeting, if you see what I shared on screen right now from the RTP, that is the format. Okay? Yes, Prashant. Prashant Kothari does not include the names of all participants, because then it becomes a very long list that you don't have to write. Okay? Great. I can move on. Thank you so much, Archana. Yes, Niharika, all clear. Gunjan, all clear. Fine. Soumya, yes. Moksha, fine. Okay, so everybody is clear now. Ravi, where is tabular format? I mean, I've already discussed it. Where is tabular format? Prashant, I just read your doubt and I told you the first title of attendees does not include all the participants. You don't have to write all of that. Okay? Clear, everybody? I hope I have addressed everybody's doubt. And now I'll move on to the steps involved in minutes of a meeting. The first step, you can quickly go through these 5 steps which I've written. Pre-planning, record taking, minute writing process, the circulation and the sharing, and last is filing or storing, which is like how do you store the minutes according to the date, according to the month, according to the topic. That might not be discussed in detail, but that's part of the writing process. Okay. Now, first is pre-planning. As the name suggests, you have to plan before the actual incident happens, before the actual event happens. So pre-planning is what all do you need to know as the person who has been judged to write the minutes? What all do you have to know before the session is going to happen? Okay. Record taking, how do you actually take down those very important notes? So when you're writing, you should have written the names of the speakers beforehand on a paper. Let's talk about writing with a pen and a paper. So when I'm doing a record taking, if I am writing the minutes of the meeting and I have the list of the speakers with me, so I constantly have to refer to the list. Before the meeting starts, I should have write 10 a.m. Mr. A, Finance Department, 10:30 Mr. B, Sales Department, 11 o'clock HR Miss XYZ HR. I have these things written already with some space in between this. Once the speaker comes, just adjacent to his or her name, I can start taking down the notes. Okay. So my record taking should follow a certain format. I can't at that time say, okay, let me see who's coming next. Okay, let me see, is it Mr. A or is it Mr. B? That is not allowed. Okay. All this should be there on your paper with the time, with the division, with the topic that person is going to talk about. And then you can quickly take down whatever he's saying. Most of the times, if a person is delivering a speech or talking on a particular topic, there is a lot of content which is very theoretical, which does not need to be included in the minutes. So suppose there's a person from the sales team and he's showing a graph. Now, you can't replicate the graph in your own words. So you simply say a graph on the sales figure showed, and then later when you work on the minutes, then you can see whether that point is to be included or removed. Or maybe that graph can be attached as an annexure or as an attachment at the end of the minutes. That is for you to decide. Right now in the exam, you don't have to get into those details. I am just telling you some back-end information. Okay? Okay, I think there are a couple of doubts, so I won't move forward. Let me just sort all this here. Template for meeting agenda, template for meeting agenda. Okay, Ravi, what about the template? This is the template for the meeting agenda. So it starts with this slide. You need to mention these 5 things first. After this, this is the tabular format and this is the template for the meeting agenda. Okay, Ravi, got it? Fine. Prashant Kunal, I am elaborating on the steps of writing minutes. Give me a minute because there are a lot of doubts. Okay, Prashant Kothari, we have to write the name of the highest ranking personnel attending the meeting. Are you talking about this tabular format where you have to write this, or are you talking about this where you have to write this? Yes, Ravi, not required. Steps, I'm telling you, Prashant Kunal, I'm telling you steps. RTP has the same thing as what I'm giving. So don't get confused, Mayank. The RTP and what I'm sharing is the same thing. Read the question. The question in the RTP was about writing the minutes. That's why the tabular format was not given. If the question is writing the agenda, then the tabular format has to be adhered to. Okay. Prashant Kothari, I'm sorry, I did not understand. Where do you think you have to write the highest ranking person? Are you mentioning this or are you mentioning the minutes of the meeting? Let's just forget about the table now. The table is only to be used till the agenda is asked. After that, it comes to the minutes, which does not need a table. You can simply write 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. That's it. I showed it to you in the RTP. You can yourself also refer the answers, the suggestions, and the hints mentioned will show. You just have to mention 1, 2, 3, 4 speakers, what all they said, the time, the date, when did the meeting start, except that's it. Prashant, can you tell me where are they different in the book? I can just have a look at that, please, then in the book as in your study material. Okay, in the minutes of the meeting. Wait. I think there is some sort of a confusion. So this is the agenda which you have to follow. This is the tabular agenda which you have to follow. If the question says, write the agenda for the meeting. Is this much clear? Now we move on to the minutes. If you have to write the minutes, you do not need a table. You can straight away write 4 points of the minute with some objective practical information about date, time, etc. in the beginning. Okay? In case there is a doubt if what is given in the book, please tell me the book number, page number, please tell me the point number. I can quickly have a look and clarify. Okay, but what I'm telling you in this class is fine. Sometimes what happens is 1 or 2 points can be done up and down. You don't have to be very particular. A line here or there, a point skipped, a point added, that's okay. There is no hard and fast rule that everything has to go according to what I am showing. In case this is the tabular format, here, if you even include a tea break, a lunch break, a coffee break, a Q&A session, a discussion, an argument, a slideshow, all that is also okay. So if you see a little bit of difference in what is given in the textbook and what I'm saying, that difference is not a very, that's not a difference which you need to consider much. So it might just be a lighter version. It's okay. So don't bother. What I'm showing you, what the RTPs have, if you go a +-1, that's fine. Okay. Veni, it depends on what is the question. Is the question asking you to do the agenda or is the question asking you to do the minutes? Okay. Fine. So now this is the pre-planning. This is the first step, like Prashant, Kunal, you've been asking. Let's start with how to write the minutes. So this is pre-planning. Refer to the copy of the agenda as a guideline because the agenda, the tabular format needs to be in front of you to see what time did what speaker start. Second, the numbering and the order of events should be the same. So if Mr. A spoke before Mr. B, your minutes should also have the same order. You cannot change the order. Okay. Mayank, you do not have to write the name of all people present, but you have to write the name of all the people who spoke. The speakers' names are written in the minutes. All attendees, you can simply write all attendees agree to what has been written because the attendees might be many in number. The attendees might be 5, 15, 50, etc. Only the names of the speakers. If you want, you can say all the people from the finance department attended the meeting. Few people from the finance and few people from the marketing division attended the meeting. There is no particular rule against mentioning them or not mentioning them. But you definitely don't have to mention the names of all the attendees. Okay? Okay, Prashant, thank you so much, Prashant Kothari. I'll definitely refer to that 13.3 part and I'll get back to you. Just give me some time. Let me see how you are comparing that the highest ranking personnel and the other thing which you're asking. I'll maybe after this class ends, I'll refer to 13.3 and I'll clarify your doubt. Okay, because right now, if I turn there, then I won't be able to finish this part, which is the agenda of my meeting here. So let me stick to this. I'll surely get back to you in the 2 o'clock session about that page 13.3. Okay. So here it is pre-planning. The numbering, the order of events should be the same. List down the names of all attendees, participants before the meeting begins. Now here there is a doubt which most of you have been asking. So what I want to say is, if there are more than 10, 20, 30 participants, you don't have to write the names. You can simply write participants are all from the finance division, all employees, all members from the sales and marketing division attended the meeting. If there are only 5 participants, if there are only 6 participants, then maybe you are allowed to mention the name. But if the list is huge, you don't have to write the names. Okay. So this is all pre-planning. This is all for your benefit. When you finally present the minutes, all the names are not mentioned. This is what you are doing at your end. This is your homework. Get the difference? Soumya, we have to assume that we are in the shoe of yes, of course. I'm discussing this, assuming that you have to do this minutes of the meeting writing part. Okay. Okay, Prashant, give me a minute. Let me just see what your question is. Let me just refer to page 13.3 in the break time, and then I'll get back to your doubt. Okay, don't worry. In case you still do not have clarity, I'll answer your question in a mail. So there will be no doubt left. Rest assured, you have to be sure that I'm not going to leave any stone unturned in ensuring that all of you have understood everything. That's the whole purpose of having a virtual class. If I just want you to remain in doubt, then I wouldn't be meeting you like this. Okay. I know both questions are different. You are more concerned about the highest ranking person's name coming in the minutes. And what you said, the templates are different in the book. I'll discuss that. Okay. Don't worry, and I'll surely get back. Fine. Is this slide clear now? First 3 points discussed. Fourth point is any text, any file, any document which was given in the meeting should be attached to the minute. So, for example, a survey report was shared with all participants of the meeting. That survey report should be attached in the minutes. Maybe a document or a file was shown on screen which every participant should be knowing, that should be attached. So that is your discretion to understand what were the important points and what was shown in the meeting, which is also acting as a proof. So please attach it with the minutes page. Got it? Okay. Now record taking. So what is record taking? Record taking is an activity where the person who is writing down the minutes has all the information written in a perfect chart. Okay. So first of all, the time, date, the place. You cannot have anything without the first point, the time, the date, the place. That is mandated. Second thing, the list of the members present and absent. Now, this is a little controversial. Sometimes we fail to mention the list of the absent members. But this is sometimes important because there is a record that you did not attend the meeting, and probably that's the reason you missed out on a certain point. So, for example, the invite for the meeting has been sent to 15 participants. Okay. Out of which 5 of them are speakers, 10 of them are only attendees. You get the difference? 15 participants, 5 of them are speakers, 10 of them are attendees. So the minutes are circulated to all the 15, those who spoke and those who attended. Okay. Now, out of those 10 attendees, if 2 are absent, so only 8 attendees are there. But when you write down the minutes, in the first column, we say, for example, list of participants who attended 10, list of absentees 2, you can put the names in the brackets. This is all for your understanding. You don't have to mention this in the tabular format. This is how you are supposed to take down and how you are supposed to record the proceedings of a meeting. Okay. If anything was changed in the last minute, you have to put that as an amendment. If there is any issue in the question, there was a question being discussed and that has not been resolved, the problem has not been resolved, you can put that in your records. This is how you are taking down records for your own homework, for your own reference. Okay. Then you can say, okay, Mr. AB suggested that this should be done. And then, of course, if there is any decision on, let's say, the meeting, a similar meeting will be held next month on this particular date, you can put that. So record taking is nothing but very important on the part of the facilitator, on the part of the person who has been given this job. That's why we say it sounds like taking down academic notes, but it involves a lot of precision. Okay. Uh, Minutes are like short summary. Yes, Bharat, I can say that. Srinivas, thank you very much. You understood. Is it clear till here? The first slide about pre-planning, this is the way you are supposed to plan your assignment. Record taking, how you're supposed to take a record, because if any speaker is speaking in a certain order, that order needs to be adhered to even in the minutes. You cannot mention the name of the last speaker first and the first speaker last. Okay? Clear, everybody? Can we go ahead to the next slide? Please clarify as much as you want to. Even if you ask me 10 questions, I'll try my best to ensure that you have understood, because this is a topic which might not be something which you have dealt with earlier. This is a topic which you might not be reading often about. This is a topic which is more understood when you are live in it, when you are part of a meeting, when you have been given the role of writing the minutes. So please make sure you understand every aspect. And I'm again repeating, please look at the questions. The questions make it easier to understand what am I saying and why am I saying. Okay, clear? Fine. Now this is the tip, how to write quick records. You can't use long sentences. So you should write in very short, maybe like a shorthand, or you have your own symbols. So you need to put that. In case you are writing a record and you are not sure about what the speaker said, please go to the speaker, clarify your doubts, and then put it in your record. Because sometimes in a hurry, the speaker might have said something and your interpretation was different. Now, the attendees are okay to have different interpretation, but the onus lies on you. So if you have any doubts, please clarify then and there before you actually make them as a part of your minutes. Be attentive. That's something which goes without saying. The person who's writing the minutes cannot have or cannot afford to be liberal and thinking and digressing and dreaming. That's not possible, because everything depends on your record taking. If you go wrong with a message or a number or a figure or a fact, then you are responsible for spoiling the whole show. So somebody who has been given the responsibility of writing the meeting has a Herculean task to perform. And that's why I say, please know your job very well. Okay? Suprada, meeting adjourned means adjourned is finished. Okay? The word adjourned is very often used in the legal aspects of courtrooms. Adjourned is it's over for right now. Yes, Bharat, it's like taking down minutes. Okay. Now, fourth is do not try to capture all points. So that's where your skill comes into picture. How much are you going to filter? How much do you understand what is important and what is not? What is redundant? Don't add it in a minute. The minutes of the meeting should not look like a summary of a story. You're reading a 10-page long story by Rabindranath Tagore and I've asked you to give me a summary. That is not a minute. A minute is basically the objective points, the bullet points behind a meeting. Fine? Do not capture all points. It is your expertise here, how you decide on what is important and what is not. Last of all, somebody already asked me, you can record the meeting, but the participants must be aware of that. That information should be given beforehand. When you send an invite for the meeting, when you ask 10 people to join the meeting on so and so date, etc., you can put that in the email saying the meeting shall be recorded on a device, so that anybody who's going to say something maybe which is a little sensitive, maybe it is erroneous, maybe it is critical information, should be aware that my statements are going to be recorded. Okay, clear? Is it okay till here? Of course, Archit, the PPT will be uploaded. You don't have to worry at all. This PPT, this lecture, everything will be uploaded. So you just have to remember that in case there is a doubt when you're performing, when you're practicing, you only have to refer to the RTPs. You only have to refer to the study material. Your doubts will be clear. Otherwise, I'll definitely upload this PPT. Don't worry about that. In the list of participants column, do we have to mention whether the attendees are present or absent? No. There you don't have to mention. Now, this is very critical. I think all of you are confusing between the minutes and the agenda. The agenda is a tabular format which only asks to tell what is what are the attendees who attended the meeting, but they're not giving you the names. In case anybody is absent, that comes as part of the minutes. That doesn't come as part of the agenda. In the minutes, when you are recording your stuff, so when I'm writing down the minutes and I've started recording, I will say, okay, Mr. A was the first speaker absent, Mr. B present, Mr. C speaker absent, Mr. D, Mr. E. In terms of the participants, if there are large number of participants, you cannot ensure how many were present and how many were not present. By participants, I mean attendees. Okay. What is more important is if the meeting is being attended by 100 people, I can't make sure that how many attended, how many not. But I can definitely ensure whether the speakers were present or not. And in the other case, if the meeting was attended by, let's say, 10 people, then there is a possibility that I ensure somebody was present and somebody was not. Okay. Okay, thank you, Kriti. Thank you so much, Bharat and Arjit. It's clear now. I'm glad. I hope I've clarified your doubt, Jayashree. Anything else still here? All okay? Okay, so now let's move forward. Writing the minutes. This is the main aspect which you have to do, writing the minutes, which is the most important. This is like the final game. This is like the end game of Avengers where you have to do it, and this is what is going to fetch you marks. Okay. These are written after the meeting is over. I know I have put this, but sometimes what you are doing in the meeting is called record taking, which is rough minutes. Final minutes are written after the meeting is over. Okay. So now recall anything which you missed. When you're going through your rough notes, you might be wondering, okay, did I miss something? Is there something which I can add? Is there something which I'm not sure of? So please ensure you haven't missed anything. Second, meeting minutes are almost every time dependent on what record taking you have done during the meeting. Okay, so please be attentive and involved in the meeting time, during the meeting, because I'm repeating, when you are taking down notes, everything should be clear. You can't use bad handwriting. You can't use you can't use some kind of a font which you yourself don't understand. So it's very important that the records you have taken are up to the mark. On the basis of that only, you have to write down the meeting minutes. Okay. Then the third point, which is very important, please ensure a proper structure flow, all that which comes into the order category. So whoever spoke first is being talked about in the meeting first. Whoever spoke second is being talked about in that very order. Okay. In the middle, if there was a survey done, wherever it was done, put it that at that point only. In the end, if there was a Q&A, that needs to be mentioned in the end only. Okay. Okay. Long meetings would have lengthy notes, so your minutes will also appear to be like long. Please make sure you understand how each minute is given importance in terms of relevant usage of words. Don't get into essay writing sessions. That's not a good way. Minutes have to be very, very apt, very, very particular, very, very objective. Okay, that's what my next point says. Be very brief. You are not writing long answers, long history answers. These are only pointers, these are only bullets. Finally, something which I have to mention every time when I read the answers, most of you get into personal opinions. The speaker spoke very well about so and so. The speaker was not clear when he showed a slide. The speaker failed to answer certain questions. I think the speaker was in a dilemma when he was asked about A and B, and then he started having an argument with the participant. No room for personal opinions. I don't want you to judge anybody's performance. I don't want you to explain, okay, this was a good speaker or that was a good speaker. You are only replicating the process in English language in points. That's it. No room for conflicts, no room for bias, no room for partiality. Okay? Okay. Yes, you can record the meeting, Bharat. I already told you this is the slide which says the last point. The meeting can be recorded on any device and the participants should be aware about it. Okay, fine. And the last point is please attach any reference which is there, which is being circulated during the meeting. That is the whole aspect which should not get missed. If there is no attachment as an appendix, people who are reading the minutes will not understand. Okay, he's talking about a graph or a survey done, but where is it? So it should be part of the minutes. It should be attached in the annexures or in the appendix, and you can mention that speaker A, this, speaker B, this, speaker 3 showed a very showed a graph on the sales figures for last month. The graph is attached, you can mention it there and there. The graph is attached in the appendix in the annexures for your perusal. Okay, because if it's written there, then anybody who's reading the minutes can immediately turn to the graph and understand, okay, this is what that person discussed. Suprata, survey can be anything. That's just an example I'm giving. It can be any kind of an attachment, a survey report, an actual report, a report published by some organization, maybe a census report, maybe a sales figure by the sales department, maybe a tax report, maybe a balance sheet. Anything which is attached needs to be mentioned there. Okay, fine. Okay, now the next thing is okay, so the survey is clear, the recording part is clear, the agenda. Okay. Can we add present or okay, Kriti, I already told you about the present or the absent in the column. That's okay. Fine. So this is the actual end of all my slides. In case you have any doubts, you can put them in the column. So the first thing is know how to pre-plan your minutes. The second thing is know how to take records during the meeting. The third thing is know how to write the minutes. Okay. If you are okay with this, then I think the question on the minute writing of the minutes should be very easy. Still, I'm here. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Okay, Prashant is asking, do we have a list or in the middle? Do we have a list or in the middle of the minutes about the attachment? Yeah, so when you're attaching something related to what a particular speaker said, just below his name, you can write attachment or the circular attached, the graph attached, the report attached. You can do that. Okay. Fine. You can also watch some meeting video in the YouTube. Yes, you can. Okay. Any other doubt while writing the minutes? If we don't understand what the speaker is talking about, then what do we have to do? Then what you can do is you can wait, you can take down your rough notes, and after the meeting, you can go back to the speaker and then discuss it with him. Okay? So you can go back to the speaker and ask if there was a doubt about what you have in concern. Okay, now let's see. A quick revision, sure, we'll do a quick revision. So this is the writing of the minutes. I'll take you to the starting. This is the pre-planning. This is how you have to start. You have to pre-plan what all goes into the writing of the minutes, have the name of attendees, have the name of absentees, have the names of all the speakers against whom you can write all the content. Please remember, all the files, documents should be there with you. You should have a copy of all that because that's going to be part of the attachment in the minutes. So somebody who's writing the minutes definitely needs to know what all is going into the discussion. Next is record taking. The record taking involves all these objectives with the name, the dates, the place, etc. Everything is there on the slide. I don't have to repeat it. You can see whatever is there. Hariharan, the format for minutes, of course, I'll discuss. It's there in one of the RTPs. If you don't mind, can you refer to the RTPs because the answers of the questions have the format. You can abide by that. Okay, so is the record taking clear? These are the tips which you have to follow. Maybe they will be a little helpful. Finally, writing the minutes. Okay till here. In the exam, minutes, sorry, should we make the graph? No, you don't have to make any attachments in the exam. Don't worry about that. Okay, that's just a way of telling you that attachments, if at all are there, you can keep that as a note and then you can attach it in the end, but you don't have to do anything about the attachments in the exam. Yes, Moksha, that's fine. What you have written as the format is fine. The list of the attendees, yes. The name, the date, the date, the place, etc. is very important. Don't forget the date. Then you can talk about the list of the attendees, the points discussed in bullets about those 3-4 speakers, and if there was a conclusion taken, in the end, you can say all attendees agreed to the conclusion. You can put your sign, you can put the date, and that's it. And this can be circulated. If there is any attachment, mention that. If there is no attachment, leave it. Okay. So when you write the minutes, you don't have to worry about adding all information. I am telling you most of the things because you should know where are the attachments going to go and where will the mention of the attachments come. That's what I have to tell you. Otherwise, of course, you can just do it without attachments in the exam. That's also okay. Okay, Moksha. So recording and pre-planning are clear. Writing minutes is clear. Any other doubt? I'm asking you again and again, please refer to the RTPs. The questions are there, the concerned aligned answers are there. In case there is a difference or of understanding in the study material, don't worry. There is nothing which is like hard and fast. A line up, a line down, that much of scope is allowed in the exam. Mostly we check on the template, mostly we check on the points, the bullets you have included, mostly we check on the format. Okay, if you do not mention about the attachment, that's okay. If the question says prepare an agenda and you give me a minute, that's a problem. If the question says write the minutes of the meeting and you're giving me a tabular agenda, that is a problem. So just focus on the broad problems. Don't focus on the minute problems because this is completely theoretical. You have to make up topics on your own. You have to make up names on your own. It is all fictional. Just ensure that you are sticking to a certain format with the date, the time, the objective, the name of the speakers, the name of the participants, the duration for which they spoke. That's it. Okay. Is it clear? So I'll take your leave right now. When I come back at 2 o'clock, I'll definitely discuss the concerns about the page which I think Prashant Kodhari mentioned on 13.3. We'll discuss that. I'll take a few minutes to discuss the circular writing, and then of course we'll go on to the exercises. Okay, because unless you practice, I don't think so you will be able to answer most of the questions. So I'll definitely give you a lot of practice in the next session, in the afternoon session. So please stay connected. And yes, of course, we will do practice exercises, Suprada. We'll do that. And one request before I leave, please drop in a feedback. I've been saying that many times, but I don't see most of you giving a feedback. Please drop in a feedback at the end of the class. That's going to be one means where we can improve ourselves, we can better ourselves, we get to know what is the expectation, what else are you looking forward in such virtual classes, so that next time whenever we have them, we can definitely inculcate your suggestions. Okay. Thank you so much. Please put the feedback before you actually go for your lunch. And I'll see you at 2 p.m. sharp with the second and the final session of meetings for the team. Have a nice time. Enjoy your lunch and see you at 2 o'clock.